Democrat Jasmine Crockett is emerging as the new face of the progressive left. Patel and others are moving to drain the swamp. Plus, in the fight against anti-Semitism, let's not forget the big picture. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
Good evening, friends, and welcome to the 13-minute news hour. If you're new to the show, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to start with the leadership void in the Democrat Party and who seems to be emerging. Now, after the stunning election results from November, one would think that the Democrats would learn something, that they would realize based on polling, election results, or just common sense, that the American people rejected their policies. We rejected wide open borders. We rejected the attack on American energy. We rejected wokeism and radical gender ideology. And yet, the Democrats are not offering anything new. Kamala Harris was certainly no leader. When the move was made to replace Biden, the Democrats were essentially forced to pick her. But now is the time that the Democrats could learn from the election and try to relate to the American people. They could gravitate to a leader or a spokesperson who understands that the Democrats have gone off the deep end. Instead, the person who seems to be at the front and center as the new voice of the Democrats is not anyone who is relatable at all. Forget Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she's old news. Now the Democrats have gone full gangsta with Jasmine Crockett. Remember this famous meltdown?
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling, if someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad-built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
Chairman, I make a motion to strike those words.
I don't think that's
Hold on.
part of
I'm trying to find clarification on what quality.
Chairman, motion to strike
those words. I
those
had no idea
words.
what you just said.
We're not gonna do this. Look, you guys earlier literally just said
You
that.
just voted to do it.
Y'all did it first, so you don't want to talk about
voted to do it.
Order.
I'm trying to get clarification.
Look at calm down. Calm down.
No, because this
I
is
will
what
let
y'all
you get
do.
through proceeding.
So I'm trying to
Hey,
get
Ms.
clarification.
Crockett, you're not recognized.
That was from around 9 months ago. And instead of surveying the field after the election, Jasmine Crockett has become the go-to symbol of the 2025 Democrats. These Democrats are actually opposed to eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse. These Democrats are opposed to finding peace in the Russia-Ukraine war. And these Democrats continue to refuse to support and protect women, whether against violence from illegal aliens or on sports teams and locker rooms. Here's Crockett on MSNBC talking about Trump.
Unfortunately, we have someone that is occupying the White House, and as far as I'm concerned, he is an enemy to the United States. He swore an oath just like the rest of us. But right now, when you are literally putting us at risk, all because of what? Because you want to convince your followers that you should be a dictator too, that you should never leave the White House because you don't believe that elections should take place?
Yep, the old Trump is a dictator line played out so well during the election cycle. It's like they have a new spokesperson with the same old lines. But that's MSNBC, national television version of Crockett. The more candid Crockett is even worse.
This is not what we should be doing. I don't even know why we fighting with Greenland. Why we fighting with Greenland? We fighting with Canada. We fighting with Mexico. Yet we in love with Putin. What is happening? Like, this is not America. This is a terrible nightmare. Somebody slap me and wake me the fuck up because I'm ready to get on with it.
If you could tell Donald Trump anything tonight, what would you tell him?
I would tell him to grow a spine and stop being Putin's hoe.
That's the new face of the Democrat Party. The same radical left-wing policies sprinkled in with a perfect blend of profanity, crudeness, and nasty. Next, let's talk about Patel and the draining the swamp efforts. But first, if you're new to the show or haven't subscribed yet, regardless of platform, just search out my name, hit that subscribe button, make sure notifications are turned on. That way you can follow the show and help us grow. Next, let's talk about new FBI Director Patel, because if there is anyone to really keep your eye on in this effort to drain the swamp and clean out the deep state, it's Patel. Patel was a victim of the deep state. Threats, intimidation, legal action, all to stop him from pursuing the truth. There is an unelected government within the government that truly hates conservatives and will subvert the efforts of Republicans even when Republicans are the ones voted into power by the people of the United States. These people have been weaponized against their own country. As an example, just this past week, in actions that haven't received the level of media coverage that they should, Patel and the Justice Department announced the arrests of members of the American military for being on the take for China.
I can now report that today the FBI, along with our interagency partners, led by AG Pam Bondi, arrested 2 active duty U.S. Army soldiers and 1 former U.S. Army soldier for theft of government property and a bribery scheme. Attorney General Pam Bondi went on to say the defendants arrested today are accused of betraying our country, actively working to weaken America's defense capabilities and empowering our adversaries in China.
Isn't it refreshing to see the FBI going after real bad guys, people who want to harm our country? With the Biden administration, they seem more focused on going after Christians, abortion protesters, and concerned parents at school board meetings. Here's more.
The soldiers were alleged to have conspired with each other to surreptitiously gather sensitive military information related to the United States Army's operational capabilities, including technical manuals and other sensitive information, and transmitted this information in return for money.
Patel isn't the only one who's cleaning house. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem announced that those responsible for leaking operational information about ICE have been found and will be prosecuted. Noem, along with Border Czar Tom Homan, have been executing President Trump's plans perfectly. They have been identifying the criminal illegal aliens, apprehending them, and getting them out of the country. And yet, there are those within the government who are trying to subvert these efforts.
DHS officials confirmed to Fox News they say they have identified 2 people within DHS who they say they have caught leaking information about ICE operations to different targets and then put those operations in jeopardy.
DHS Secretary Kristi Noem reached out to Fox News regarding these arrests. The leaks have caused a number of raids to be unsuccessful across the country and have put officers' lives at risk. Here's Noem.
Everyone, I wanted to give you a quick update. We have identified 2 leakers of information here at the Department of Homeland Security who have been telling individuals about our operations and putting law enforcement lives in jeopardy. We plan to prosecute these 2 individuals and hold them accountable for what they've done. And we're going to continue to do all that we can to keep America safe.
Whether it's Kash Patel or Kristi Noem or any member of the Trump team, part of their focus is not only doing the job, but it's identifying and getting rid of people who are not doing the job. Whether that's through a DOJ-type review of unnecessary employees or those who truly want to harm this country. In either case, the broom is out and the house cleaning has begun. Next, the anti-Israel pro-Hamas protests are back on college campuses, and in particular, Columbia University is in the spotlight. The situation has escalated to the point where President Trump has now cut off $400 million in funding for the university unless it cracks down on anti-Semitism on campus. Here's Trump's Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller.
President Trump's message has been clear. If these universities don't crack down, and that includes, of course, the expulsion of these students, then they will lose their federal funds. And you will see announcements coming from the federal government as soon as tomorrow detailing those consequences. Those consequences will be swift, they will be firm, they will be immediate. The universities must discipline these students, they must break up these protests, they must expel the terror sympathizers and reclaim their campuses.
Now, Miller makes some excellent points during that complete interview, but I do think that anytime we go down this anti-Semitic road, 1, we risk infringing on freedoms that truly make America great, and 2, we tend to forget about all the other persecutions going on at home and around the world. First, no one should be threatened or attacked or harassed on a college campus. No one. There is a right to peacefully protest, but disrupting classes or attacking students or following and intimidating people is not part of that right. I also think it's perfectly good policy to expel students who are Hamas sympathizers. I'm not talking about anti-Jewish rhetoric. I'm talking about actively voicing support for a terrorist organization that is not only anti-Jewish, but is also anti-American. If someone is here as a guest, then that guest cannot be supporting an organization that chants death to America. If that's what you believe, then go home. With all that being said, I do not believe we should make any group a protected class above other groups. We have laws against discrimination, violence, and intimidation. By making actions, or in some cases words, against a certain group more punishable than actions or words against a different group means those other groups are less important and not worthy of protection. That is wrong, and that is not the American way. And finally, we should always keep in mind that if we truly stand as a counter to Marxism around the world, then the West must always stand and defend Judeo-Christian values and acknowledge that the most persecuted group around the world are Christians. Hundreds of Christians have been killed by the freedom fighters in Syria. That's just another name for Al-Qaeda terrorists that many governments thought would be better than Assad. Christians are being slaughtered in Congo, Nigeria, Iraq, Iran, and more. Christians were being targeted by the Biden administration. It's crazy, and it betrays our American heritage to sit by and do nothing. We must stand up for the values that make America great, and we must also protect all Americans and not put one group above another as a protected class. And next, here's some rapid-fire headlines from around the country. First, Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. has asked the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, to investigate a possible link between vaccines and autism.
Andrew Nixon is a spokesperson for the Health and Human Services. He says the agency plans to leave no stone unturned. Data from the CDC reports about 1 in 36 kids in the U.S. have autism, and that rates have been going up over time.
Nixon told CNN, quote, "As President Trump said in his joint address to Congress, the rate of autism in American children has skyrocketed. CDC will leave no stone unturned in its mission to figure out what exactly is happening," end quote. Follow the science. That's all we can ask. Next, in a sign that anti-wokeness and common sense are in the air, the BLM Plaza in Washington, D.C. is being dismantled. The plaza, a 2-block BLM mural, is being removed as D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser says it will help, quote, ease tensions with the Trump administration. The Washington Post editorial board defended Bowser's decision, writing that, quote, "It's smart as it will placate President Trump, whose administration is threatening the city's independence from the federal government," end quote. Really doesn't matter how they justify the actions. I'm just glad to see it go. And finally, President Trump's quest for Greenland continues with a new offer on the table. As reported by the Gateway Pundit, President Donald Trump has announced that the United States is willing to invest billions of dollars in Greenland, but with one condition, that the island integrates as part of U.S. territory. The proposal, initially revealed by sources close to the White House and confirmed by social media posts, underscores Greenland's importance to the U.S. national security and economic prosperity. What's great is that you just know that the Democrats' heads are exploding all across the country, especially Jasmine Crockett. Friends, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And remember, today's show's one sheet is available to Patreon supporters using the link in the description. The one sheet gives you the links to all the videos and stories used on today's show, so you can dive even deeper into each issue. And with that, our next show will be Friday evening at the usual time. Until then, I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour. All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends, share it, spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.